Imagine giving 5 years of your life to a company. You show up early, stay late, and work harder than anyone else. You miss birthdays, family dinners, vacations, all because you believe loyalty will be rewarded. And then, one day, your boss looks you dead in the eye and says, "People like you don't belong here." In that instant, Marcus Dawson's world collapsed. But what his boss didn't know was this. Inside a courtroom packed with lawyers, arrogance, and disbelief, a single hidden recording would expose the truth and change everything. Marcus wasn't just another employee. He was the kind of worker every company says they want: reliable, consistent, and loyal. For 5 years, Marcus gave more of himself to that company than to his own life. Weekends, gone. Vacations, canceled. Holidays, sacrificed. He worked late nights under fluorescent lights, his desk often the only one still glowing in the office after hours. His dedication wasn't about greed or ambition, it was about pride. Marcus believed that if you worked hard, someone would notice, but not everyone notices. And some people notice for the wrong reasons. Richard Hale, Marcus's boss, had been running the company for nearly 2 decades. To clients and outsiders, he was old school, tough but fair. But to those who worked under him, he was sharp-tongued, short-tempered, and biased. At first, it was subtle. Little jokes at Marcus's expense, comments that didn't feel right but were brushed off. Richard would skip over Marcus in meetings, asking others to explain ideas Marcus had already prepared. He'd hand out promotions to less qualified employees, men who laughed at his jokes and looked like him. Marcus told himself to ignore it. Keep your head down, stay professional, it'll pay off one day. But that day never came. It started small, but soon it became impossible to ignore. Marcus once led a project that saved the company nearly $500,000. His coworkers congratulated him. His manager praised him. And Marcus thought, "Finally, this is my moment." But when Richard stood before the board, he didn't mention Marcus's name once. Instead, he gave credit to another employee, a younger man with far less experience. The board applauded. Marcus sat in silence, his stomach in knots. That night, he sat in his car long after the parking lot emptied. He wanted to scream. He wanted to drive away and never return. But he didn't. He told himself, "Be patient. Tomorrow will be better." But tomorrow wasn't better. Richard began excluding Marcus from client dinners, leaving him off emails, even making jokes about how Marcus didn't fit the image the company wanted to show. Co-workers noticed, but no one spoke up. The final straw came in Richard's office. Richard leaned back in his chair, smirking. "Marcus, I don't think this place is the right fit for people like you." The words hung in the air like a knife. Marcus froze. People like you. He knew exactly what that meant. It wasn't about his performance. It wasn't about his skills. It was about something he could never change. The color of his skin. When Marcus asked for clarification, Richard leaned forward, his smirk widening. "Let's just say we need people who represent the company's image." Then he slid a termination letter across the desk. 5 years of loyalty, gone in seconds. Marcus packed his belongings into a cardboard box, his coworkers watching in silence. To Richard, it was just another firing. But what Richard didn't know was that Marcus wasn't, walking out empty-handed. For months, Marcus had been documenting everything. The snide remarks, the stolen ideas, the private conversations, and, most importantly, the moment Richard said the quiet part out loud. On Marcus's phone was a recording, and that recording was about to turn Richard's world upside down. Courtroom was packed. Richard entered like he owned the place, his expensive suit pressed, his lawyers at his side. He leaned over and whispered, "This'll be over in an hour." Marcus sat quietly at the plaintiff's table, hands folded, heart pounding. Richard's lawyers painted Marcus as a disgruntled employee. fired for poor performance, now looking for revenge. They smiled, confident as if the jury had already made up its mind. But then Marcus's lawyer pressed play. Richard's voice echoed through the courtroom. "I don't think this place is the right fit for people like you." The room froze. The jury leaned forward. The judge's eyebrows rose. Richard's smirk vanished. His lawyer jumped to object, but it was too late. The words were out, clear, recorded, damning. Richard stammered, claiming the words were taken out of context. His attorney argued that people like you referred to Marcus's work ethic. But the jury wasn't buying it. More evidence followed. Marcus's spotless performance records, testimonies from co-workers who had seen Richard dismiss Marcus's, contributions, and even emails where Richard referred to Marcus in thinly veiled, coded language. Each piece of evidence was a nail in Richard's coffin. Richard's arrogance cracked. His voice, once booming and confident, now shook under cross-examination. His lawyer scrambled, but the truth was undeniable. Finally, Marcus's lawyer asked one devastating question. "Mr. Hale, if Marcus wasn't the right fit, why did you keep him for 5 years? Why did you let him save your company millions, only to replace him with someone less qualified?" Richard had no answer, just silence. The verdict came swiftly. The jury ruled in Marcus's favor. The company was ordered to pay hundreds of thousands in damages, plus back pay and legal fees. But money wasn't the real punishment. Richard's reputation crumbled overnight. Local papers ran the story. Clients pulled out. Employees whispered. His name, once a symbol of authority, became a warning. Marcus didn't celebrate with champagne or victory speeches. He walked out of the courthouse with his head high, his dignity restored. This wasn't about revenge. It was about respect. It was about proving that silence doesn't mean weakness, that sometimes silence is just patience waiting for the right moment to speak. Stories like Marcus's don't just happen in courtrooms. They happen in offices, schools, and communities every single day. So let me ask you, do you think justice was truly served here? Or should Richard have faced even harsher consequences? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. And if Marcus's fight for justice inspired you, make sure you like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because more stories like this deserve to be told.